Well, a couple of things tonight. I have actually a couple of videos to upload, and I did some of them over the weekend, and I'm doing some of them right now. An article was posted on the Talking Points Memo website, TPM for short. And I don't want to give the impression on here that I'm constantly trashing the Obama administration. That's not really my goal. What I'm after is basically holding people in government and in private industry accountable, just as anyone else is trying to do. And so this is coming from a what I would call a fairly liberal website. It's not a conservative website at all. And so here is this little story. Representative Brad Sherman, California, a senior Democrat in the House Financial Services Committee, told us today, and this is to TPM, that the Obama administration could have prevented excessive bonuses from being paid out to AIG, but it missed the chance. Sherman told in an interview today that the Treasury Department wouldn't have to be withholding $30 billion in aid from AIG until the company restructures its bonus payments, because Congress already had given the Treasury the authority to prevent those bonuses from being paid in the first place. Referring to the original bailout Congress passed in October, Sherman told TPM, we had provisions in there that said Treasury was supposed to establish by regulation standards for executive compensation. We required that to be done. Had it been done, it would have been binding, whether or not these contracts had been signed earlier. You know, the argument was from the Obama administration through his press secretary was there wasn't much we could do about it now because these contracts were binding. It's entirely within the power of the federal government to have contracts modified. Sherman voted against the bailout, he explained, because he didn't believe that Treasury would use the power given to it by Congress. And as it turned out, the department ultimately exercised its executive compensation powers last month, but the final regulations were riddled with loopholes and only applied to companies receiving extraordinary assistance from the government in the future, a standard that no company has officially met so far. Sherman has been at the forefront of the debate over executive compensation since the earliest days of the bailout. It was Sherman who first sounded the alarm to TPM, Talking Points Memo, over the efforts to remove CEO pay caps from the stimulus bill altogether, sparking a flurry of public attention that kept the caps somewhat intact. This person believes that the solution to AIG's woes is outright government receivership, a prospect that Alan Grayson, Democrat of Florida, raised earlier. In other words, this is the nationalization of these companies. And nationalization means that these bailout payments will actually be supervised by the government, our so-called elected officials. But Sherman also counseled wariness as the nation gives in to expend anger over AIG's bonuses and largely ignores the weekend disclosure of the large banks who benefited because of their status as AIG counterparties in credit default swaps. Now, basically, what we're talking about here then is just another excuse. As long as the other banks, and I might add to that, if you have read that disclosure, most of these banks are foreign banks, which is, in Sherman's views, okay, as long as the financial system as a whole, the global financial system, is being kept afloat. But there is no mention of any pressure on this administration to set things right. You can say a lot of things on television and in speeches, you know, sharing the outrage of the public. But what is actually being done in terms of curtailing these future payments, which I'm sure are going to be asked for, in the meantime? I haven't seen anything so far, so maybe someone can enlighten me on that. I'm not seeing it. All I'm seeing is essentially bluster and rhetoric. And I have a few more things to say regarding Tim Geithner, and that'll be another video. But it just needs to be said, we're all being screwed here, and the outrage is real in this country. And it's not just a matter of public relations. It's going to go further than this. So, thanks for listening.